Hey guys and gals, welcome to my channel. What we are working on today is what they call a Coolster ATV. This is the 110cc 4x2. Yes, not a 4x4. Kids do love it though. What we're going to do today is a tune-up, oil change, which will include how to tune the carburetor, spark plug change, and the oil change. Very easy to do. Anyone can do it. Don't take it to the shop. Do it yourself. Okay, safety. We're going to be working on the carburetor idle adjustments, so it is a good idea anyway to set the parking brake. Just pull the lever brake in, push the parking brake button down, release it, and the brake is set. And then of course to release that, just pop it out. Okay, tools required to do this pretty simple job. 3/8 inch drive ratchet 6-inch extension, 17mm socket, 5/8 inch spark plug socket. The spark plug is a NGK CR7 HSA Phillips screwdriver. Yes, that is a cake pan, and it is not my wife's favorite. She was going to throw it away a while ago, so I grabbed it. It slides nicely under the four-wheeler. A funnel with reach, because to get to the dipstick, it helps to have a little bit of a reach. And a shop towel. Okay, let's do this job. I'm using Valvoline 10W40 ATV oil. We do live in Minnesota, so it gets hot, winters get cold. Primarily, if we do use it in the winter, it would be on a warmer winter day. So 10W40 is not a bad oil to use. If you do use it in the more colder days, you live in a cold climate, you may want to use a 5W weighted oil. Okay, first things we're going to work on is the spark plug. It's on the right side front of the engine. It is right here. So first thing we're going to do is pull the boot off. And then again, it is the 5/8 drive spark plug socket is what we're going to use. 6-inch extension works pretty good. So put it on, loosen it, and then the rest you can get by hand. Take it out. This plug actually looks very good. Also, the plugs come with a cap on there. Sometimes, depending on the cap, the spark plug wire attaches with, you either leave the cap on or take it off. Obviously this one does not have it on, so if the new one comes with it, just unscrew it. I'm going to put this plug back in. It looks very good. I'm not having any starting issues. Starts very well. If you are having some starting problems, it could be a new spark plug. That's a cheap something to try, and they do go bad after a while. Also make sure there's nothing following the plug. Something between the electrodes there would stop it from functioning properly where the spark goes. Also down in where the insulator is, it's hard to see, but sometimes that gets carbon down in there and it'll short out the spark plug. Especially if it just suddenly quits running one day. It won't restart, and if you have gas in it, that might be your culprit, is a bad plug. So you want to be careful when you install the plug. Make sure there's a wipe around the spark plug hole to make sure there's no dirt or debris. You don't want that in the engine. And then take a look at the gap and just make sure, especially if you drop a plug, tends to close that gap. You can look up the spec for that and actually check it, but that one looks pretty good. So I'm going to put it back in. Just screw it back in. Make sure it's on the first couple turns it's a little wiggly. That means it's not cross-threaded. You don't want to cross-thread it. And you're going to put it back in. Again, 6-inch extension, 5/8 drive socket, and just put it in and tighten it up, snug it up, and then just a little bit more. You don't want to over tighten them. You could break the plug. You could also strip it out, and then you got a bigger problem to deal with. Also, sockets, spark plug sockets have some of them have a little rubber insert. You want to make sure it goes on your spark plug straight so you don't break the white insulator there. Very easy to do sometimes. Okay, and then install the wire back on it, and you'll hear it kind of click on, and that's the spark plug replacement. Very easy to do. Now we're going to drain the oil out. I've got the 17mm socket on my ratchet, and down underneath you will see, that might not be focusing very well, I'm sorry. You're going to see a 17mm nut. There's also a 14 down there. What you're going to focus on is the 17mm nut, and we're going to loosen that one up. Loosen it, and oh, don't forget your drain pan. Slide that underneath, and we're going to take the plug out the rest of the way. If there's any dirt or grime, you want to clean that off, and we're gonna drain that out, and we'll be right back. Sorry, I actually missed the draining of the oil, but anyway, you take the 17mm bolt out, let her drain for a while. It's about 25 ounces of oil to do an oil change. So the 9-inch pan holds that nicely. Clean the bolt off. Some oil drain bolts, nuts have a magnet in them to collect any metal particles, but this one doesn't. Don't forget make sure the washer's back on when you put it on, and reinstall it, snug it up, and then just a little bit more. That should be good. Careful not to cross thread it on the way in. Again, like the spark plug, your first turn, it should wiggle in there a little bit, and then turn it in the rest of the way. Okay, your filler port is right back here. It's a little hard to get to the dipstick, but anyway, you take that out, and we will clean that off. You want to clean off this area around here as best you can. Don't want any dirt, again, getting into the engine if we can help it. All right, clean funnel. And again, something with a little bit of reach down there helps out. And I measure out, you can, estimate 25 ounces out of here if you want. I use a different container and fill it up. And then we're gonna put it in. All right, since I need another hand, I can't really show that, but just make sure your funnel's upright, clean, and add 25 ounces. And then we're just going to screw in the dipstick, verify we do have the right oil quantity. It's right up just about to the top, so that's good. We're going to put that dipstick back in, and the oil change is complete. We'll move on to the carburetor. By the way, one good idea is to start up the machine and just make sure you don't have any leaks. While you have it running, the carburetor adjustment, this one's running just a little bit low, and so we're going to, one other tool I forgot to mention, we will use the Phillips head for something, but a small flathead for idle speed adjustment of the four-wheeler. you will see, oh, that's real good, that line coming out of the bottom of the carburetor. We're on the right side of the motor now. Is a drain line, and that Phillips head is what drains the carburetor. And then we'll talk more about that. But then up above, you'll see that flathead screw. Small turns, not probably about 1/8 of a turn, clockwise will increase engine RPM, and counterclockwise will decrease engine RPM. So if it's running on just, it tends to die, runs just a little bit too slow. Just give that about 1/8 of a turn clockwise, and that will increase the RPM. Just set it wherever you think it should be, based on the sound. I turned this one up a little bit. Now if I start the motor, I should have showed you what it sounds like here. Hold on. I think that's about the right RPM for idle. Obviously, if it gets too high, it'll start to creep on you a little bit. You don't want that. If it's too low, it will tend to die. So that sounds about right to me. Moving over to the left side of the engine, a feature that some people don't even know is up here, and they forget about it, but there's not off. I really like that feature, being able to shut the fuel off. Because what I do, if I'm not going to use the machine for a while, I'll shut that gas off. And I will actually start it and run the gas out of the carburetor. Or if you don't want to do that, another way to do it, actually I do this anyway. Back to the right side, slide your drain pan underneath, and what you can do is take that bottom Phillips screwdriver or screw and open that up. Just give it a few turns, and you will see the gas running out of the carburetor into the pan. Now that is good, because what you don't want to leave, even though I use non-oxygenated gas in most of my small engines, it still tends to go bad, and when gas goes bad, it turns to varnish, and it will clog up the little ports in your carburetor, and it won't run good. It may not even start. So, and then it's time to pull the carburetor off and clean it. So to alleviate that problem, after it's done draining, you can tighten it back up, close off the drain, and then what I do, I start the machine. Take the gas out of it and dispose of that properly. I start the machine and just run it till it quits, and then you're it doesn't take long. Not much gas left, just a little bit in the ports. I actually run it with it'll run maybe a little bit with choke on, just to make sure, and then you are sure that there's no gas in the carburetor. And when you come to start it next time, just turn the gas on, let it fill up the carburetor, and you will have good starting performance and running performance. Okay, that's it. I appreciate everybody watching. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. Take care.